Today I'm doing a review of the Myenergi Zappi electric vehicle charger. We've had this about 3 months, which is about the same as the car. It's April now, so we're now starting to actually generate solar power, whereas for the first couple of months was using this to charge the vehicle overnight off the grid electricity. Now we're actually producing plenty of excess solar, so this is the reason for getting the Zappi, is to take that excess solar and put it into the car automatically. So this is a tethered Zappi. The difference between them is the tethered one comes with a cable and it's all attached, whereas the untethered one, it doesn't come with that cable, and you have to use the one from your car. So in terms of practicality, tethered is much more convenient to use, but the untethered, because you haven't got this, it looks neater and it's a smaller install. Choices. This is the controls and display on the Zappi. Let's just say I am not a fan at all. So it's currently telling me that the EV's disconnected and it's in EcoPlus mode, and the last charge I put 7.7 kilowatts hours into it. What I have noticed, the display here, it alternates between the backlight on and backlight off. Don't seem to be able to have any control over that. The backlight will be on for about 30 seconds, then it'll be off for 30 seconds, and then it'll come back on, and it does that all the time. When it's charging, it's plugged in, the colour icon here changes: green if it's charging, amber if it's waiting for the car, you've got a timer set, or red if it's stopped. That's simple enough. What I really don't like is the buttons on it. So that button is to pull up the menus. Use these two buttons to either cycle through the menus or to change your charging modes. So if you've got in EcoPlus and you want to change it to boost, to fast, you press these buttons. It's not obvious at all when you get the charger, but you get there in the end. And then the plus is to enter something. However, at some point they must have changed the icons, because in the manual it tells you that's a tick, so it's not the best. It could be better. So as regards setup, we've got 7 kilowatt hour solar setup on the roof. We've had that getting on towards a year now, and that's in an east and west configuration, so that's just half of the array that you can see. The other half's on the west facing roof. So our installation's not exactly typical. So we've got the inverter coming in here, and then that feeds behind the bikes there. We're running a Tesla Powerwall. Zappi install, we've got the main power here, which comes from a spare socket in the consumer unit, and also here that's a wire to a CT clamp. You can go wireless on that, but ours is wired. The CT clamp for that is just right next to the consumer unit on the main power coming into the house. We have a solar iBoost hot water diverter, and this runs again from a CT clamp, the same wire that the Zappi CT clamp is on, and it detects automatically when we're exporting electricity to the grid, diverts the power into the hot water, and the thermostat on the hot water cylinder controls turning the iBoost off when the hot water's hot. And this is done wirelessly from the CT clamp to a little transmitter, which then goes to the iBoost, and that works perfectly. As soon as we start exporting power, once the Powerwall is full, this automatically switches on and heats the hot water, and then switches off once the hot water's hot. This all works very well. It's simple, no problems with it. So I've come inside the garage for the final part of the review. It's a bit windy outside and it's upsetting the sound a bit. Right, so what do I like about the Zappi? Well, first off, if I'm running it in fast charge mode, it works perfectly. I don't use the charger, the timer on the charger. I use the timer on the car. You can use either. Either will work. The main thing is don't set both, else you will get into problems. The timers conflict with each other. So set either one on the car or one on the charger. Choice is yours. And in that mode, it works absolutely fine. In eco mode, what that does is that takes it detects when we're exporting electricity and diverts that to the car, but the difference is it will maintain 1.4 kilowatts minimum charge. So if you're not producing more than 1.4 kilowatts, it will top up from the grid. Whereas in EcoPlus mode, if you're not producing 1.4 kilowatts, the charging will stop. Now, what I really do not like about EcoPlus mode is I've had no end of problems getting that to work properly. So we've set it up, the system's set up so the Powerwall charges first, then the hot water. Once the hot water is hot, then we'll send the excess to the car. Getting the charger to work with solar iBoost. Obviously Myenergi have their own Eddy hot water heater, but we had the solar iBoost before we bought this charger. It's actually quite simple. Go into the settings of the Zappi and just set a delay. I've set 20 seconds. So once we're exporting, it will not start charging the car for 20 seconds. So that gives that gives the solar iBoost plenty of time to turn on, and that will use the excess energy first. Then it will go, once the hot water's hot, then we'll send electricity to the car. And this is what I really paid the money for the Zappi charger, is we want to just automatically detect when we're exporting, send it to the car. And I'm really struggling to get that to work properly. Now, the first issue I found was we're exporting, and then the cloud will come over that will stop exporting and find out that we're still drawing from the grid, or we're drawing a lot more from the grid than we're exporting. And the reason for that is there's various boost options and green energy percentages which you have to go into the app to set. So once you turn those off, then we think, great, we'll just divert the excess solar to the car without pulling anything from the grid. That sort of works, but what we do notice is it doesn't work very well with the Powerwall. With the Powerwall, we'll find that we're not exporting, but the charger is drawing a lot of power, and it's coming from the Powerwall itself. And I still not got that figured out how to set that up. Maybe I think the next thing I need to try is to actually set a minimum export current for it to detect. Currently it's set on the default, which is 0. So I need to play with the settings on that. I've tried settings for external battery and limit that, but I think I need if I want to try and go that route, I will need a extra CT clamp installed. So next thing to try is the set minimum export power. It's anyone's guess what you need to set. What I will say about the manual and everything, it's complicated. You really need to be technically up there to actually use that manual. If you haven't got a clue about electricity or anything and you just expect a plug and go, the Zappi is not that type of charger. You do need some technical know-how in order to use it, or at least with the settings and everything that it comes with. Why I'm struggling to get this to work, I do not know. The solar iBoost, it just works. It detects when we're not exporting and switches off. It doesn't draw power from the Powerwall. So why Zappi cannot do that, I really don't know. The main reason we bought this charger, we had two options really. Because we're on dynamic pricing, the option for use in winter when we're not actually generating or exporting any solar, we're still generating, but when we're not actually exporting solar in winter, we're using the fast charge. And in winter, the better charging option for us would be the Ohmi charger, which automatically senses, it reads what electricity tariff you're on direct from the supplier, and or optimize that to get the charge into your car in the cheapest possible way. What the Ohmi can't do is divert from solar. So the Ohmi is a better choice in winter, the Zappi is a better choice in summer. We went with the Zappi because I think the Zappi is more likely to get upgraded to the smart charge sensing for fast boost in winter, whereas I don't think the Ohmi will get upgraded for detecting solar in summer. My overall impressions of it, it's barely adequate. The app itself, yeah, it works, but it's slow. I don't use it for monitoring the power consumption around the house. I use the Tesla app, which we get because we've got the Powerwall, and that is just so much slicker and just so much faster. The real-time monitoring is just way faster than the Myenergi app. The Myenergi app is adequate, but if you really want to see how it should be done, the Tesla app is way superior. The other thing I don't like about it, if you're charging your car, you can't stop it remotely either from pressing a button on the charger or from the app. There is no manual stop option. You have to just actually physically unplug it from the car. I would struggle to recommend the Zappi charger at present. It's just way too complicated. It is not plug and play. It's fine for fast charging, but if you just want a straightforward fast charger, there are much cheaper chargers out there. There are no other options currently for solar diversion, but it's just way too complicated. Myenergi really need to sort out their software and the default settings and everything. It is not plug and play for the eco charging.